That blizzard outside isn't just weather. It's got a mean spirit, roaring so loud it makes my little cabin shake. The windows rattle in their frames, and the wind slings snow against the glass in wild, angry waves. I shove another log into the wood stove, watching the fire eat it up, hungry as ever. The weatherman had said we'd have clear skies tonight. Figures. Nothing seems to work out for me lately. I wrap my hands around this old mug, feeling grateful for these 4 walls my granddad put up all those years ago, way out in the mountains where most folks wouldn't dare build. Just as I start to settle in, a sharp sound slices through all that storm noise. It's different. Not the wind, not some old board creaking. I freeze, tilting my head to listen better. I'll tell you, living up here alone does weird things to your head. You start hearing the wind talk, or tree limbs scratching the window like someone knocking with bony fingers. Give it a few weeks by yourself, and every silence gets filled with ghosts of your own making. But you know what? I don't look back. I left everything behind. My job, my fiancé. People say I lost it. Truth is, I just did what I had to do to keep going. Pratch, pratch, pratch. I take a long sip, telling myself that noise is just my mind running wild. Then, all of a sudden, a howl cuts through the night. Or maybe it's just the wind working its way through another crack in the cabin. I set my mug down, watching the surface tremble. I hold my breath, not moving a muscle, just listening. 30 seconds go by with nothing but wind screaming outside. I let my breath out slow, convinced it's all in my head. But turns out I'm dead wrong. There it is again. Cratch. Louder. There's no way to ignore it now. And then a whimper, something so real and so out of place, it snaps me to attention. My heart kicks into overdrive as I get up from my chair. The old rifle from above the fireplace. The last thing my granddad left me. I take it down and check the safety. I try to convince myself. It's probably just a branch, or maybe a raccoon. Or a fox, maybe. But deep down I know better. Foxes don't make that sound. Steeling myself, I step up to the frosty window, my pulse hammering in my throat. And then it just stops. Right outside my door, huddled in the snow, are 2 wolves. Their furs all matted with ice, frozen solid. The smaller one's collapsed, blood soaking the snow around its leg in ugly red streaks. The big one, a massive silver wolf, is scratching at my door, desperate. Then its eyes, this wild amber color, lock on mine through the window. I stumble back, and every survival lesson I've ever heard starts playing in my head. Wild animals aren't pets, don't go near them, never let your guard down. That silver wolf lets out a low, mournful whine that makes my chest ache. He turns, nudging the smaller one, almost like he's begging me to do something. They'll find a place to hole up, I mutter, gripping the rifle tighter. They're wolves. They make it through winters just fine. But the smaller wolf's not moving. Its breath comes out in shallow, fading puffs, each one weaker than the last. The temperature's dropped way past freezing. No way an injured animal survives a night like this. Then the big wolf meets my eyes again. There's no threat in that look, nothing wild or mindless. Instead, I see something close to pleading, something that almost feels human. He throws his head back and lets out a howl, raw with pain and something deeper. "This is nuts," I whisper, lowering the gun. "They're wild animals, not strays." The smaller wolf shudders, its muzzle caked with ice. My heart's pounding so loud it almost hurts, but I cross the room anyway. Every step toward that door feels slow, like I'm moving through water. The floorboards groan under my boots. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. In the back of my head, all I can hear are the headlines about fools getting mauled by wild creatures. My hand brushes the metal latch. The cold bites straight through my skin. I stop for a second, my hand shaking so bad I almost can't grip the latch. On the other side of the door, I can hear the big wolf breathing. Can feel him there, just inches away. I can't help thinking, nobody ever opened their door for me when I was desperate. Not once. I draw in a deep breath, filling my lungs with the sharp scent of pine and wood smoke. When I let it out, it floats in the air, a little cloud. My fingers finally manage the latch, and it snaps open, loud as a gunshot in the stillness. The second I start pulling the door open, the wind slashes my face. So cold it rips the air from my lungs and makes my skin sting with 1,000 tiny needles. The big silver wolf goes still as stone, amber eyes locked right on me. His whole body's tense, like he's not sure whether to bolt or stay and hope. This thing's a full-blown predator. Could tear my throat out before I even got my hands up. But for one long charged moment we're just looking at each other. Me and him, man and wolf, separated by instincts older than memory. Then, without saying a word, not that words would help, I step aside and pull the door open wider. Doesn't matter if it makes sense. I've already made up my mind. Chapter 1. With the rifle still half raised and my hands shaking, I step out onto the porch. The cold hits like a hammer, but the adrenaline keeps it from sinking in too deep, for now. The second my boot touches the porch, both wolves freeze. The silver one never breaks eye contact, fogging the air with short puffs of breath. The little one lets out a weak whimper. Just breathe and be, I whisper, reminding myself of what Grandpa always said. It's a line I've come to lean on more than I'd like to admit. Of course, he also warned me to stay far away from wild animals. Don't corner them, don't get close, don't try to play hero. And yet, here I am, standing a few feet from two wild predators with only a rifle I have no intention of using, and a strange kind of compassion I can't quite explain. Maybe it's seeing that the smaller wolf's leg is in way worse shape than I thought. The snow under it soaked red, not white anymore. And now I can see the jagged metal edge of what looks like a trap clamped into its flesh. My stomach turns. Don't move, I say quietly, like they'll understand. I'm gonna help. The silver wolf tilts its head, almost like it's listening. It's such an unwolf-like gesture I almost chicken out right then. Wolves don't act like this. They don't beg at doorsteps. They don't bring their wounded looking for human help. Moving real slow, I lean the rifle against the cabin wall. Still within reach, just in case. Then I slip back inside to grab some blankets, the first aid kit, and the leftover venison stew from dinner. When I come back out, they haven't budged an inch. The silver one tracks me with those eyes. Sharp, cautious, and way too knowing. I'm building you a little shelter, I say, half to myself, half to them. Then I'll take a look at that leg. I pile the blankets in the corner of the porch and stack up some firewood as a windbreak. The silver wolf keeps staring like he's trying to read my intentions. I set the bowl of stew down next to the little shelter and back away. He looks at the food, then at me, then at the injured one. That back and forth is so deliberate it actually takes my breath. Help your friend first, I say gently, motioning toward the shelter. The food's here when you're ready. After a moment, the silver wolf leans in and nudges the injured one, coaxing it forward. The little guy limps, barely able to move, leaving a dark trail in the snow. I just stand there, caught watching as the bigger one leads him over to the blankets with a kind of tenderness that honestly feels human. Once the smaller wolf settles in, the silver one moves back between me and his friend. Not aggressive, just protective. That trap's gotta come off, I mutter under my breath. If it's not infected already, it will be soon. The storm's picking up again, howling even louder, driving snow sideways across the porch. I don't need a thermometer to know it's dropping fast. If they stay out here all night, they won't make it. I've gotta help, I tell the injured wolf. But not out here. I step forward, slow and careful. The silver wolf doesn't growl, doesn't snap. He just watches. I kneel beside the smaller one, moving in a way that says I'm not a threat. Up close, it's worse than I imagined. The trap's nearly sliced through tendons, and the leg's swollen bad, double its normal size. You need to come inside, I say softly, talking to both of them now. You'll freeze to death out here. The silver wolf perks up his ears like he's heard me loud and clear. My whole body is shaking, not just from the cold, but from that inner voice telling me this is a terrible idea. Every ounce of training says I should shut the door and pretend this never happened. Wolves don't belong inside cabins. They're not pets. They're predators. And still, they came to me. This storm's getting worse, I say as I rise slowly. You won't make it through the night. The silver wolf glances up at the sky, then back at me. He nudges his companion again, urging it to stand. I take a few steps back, holding the door open wide. Come on, I say, almost pleading. Please. For a few seconds, nothing happens. The silver wolf just stands there, unreadable. Then, like some unspoken agreement's been reached, he moves. With a kind of quiet determination. He helps the injured wolf to its feet and starts guiding it toward the cabin. Right there in the doorway, the silver wolf stops. Its massive head is level with my waist, and up close I can see every bit of the raw power packed into those muscles. Its teeth, yeah, they're no joke. One snap of those jaws could cut an artery clean. One move and I'd be flat on my back. A wild thought hits me. What if I just invited my own death into the house? The wolf lifts its gaze, locking eyes with me. And in that instant something shifts. There's a connection there. Something that cuts across the ancient line between man and beast. I must be out of my damn mind, I whisper. But then it steps forward, slow and sure, leading its injured companion inside and into the warmth. The cabin suddenly feels way smaller with two full-grown predators standing in the middle of my living room. Snow melts off their coats, catching the firelight in little sparkles. I shut the door behind us, sealing us all in together. I swallow hard. Chapter 2. The wolves don't move. They just stand there, dripping water onto my wood floors. Then the smaller one gives out, crumpling to the ground, clearly too weak to hold itself up. The silver wolf stays standing, still watching me with those weirdly intelligent eyes. Makes me want to back up real slow until my knees hit the couch. That's when I remember the rifle, still sitting out on the porch like a fool. Fantastic, I mutter under my breath. I brought wild animals into my house and left the only thing that could protect me outside. Now every inch of this cabin feels too tight, too cramped. There's no way out without getting past them. I scan the room thinking. The bathroom's got a lock. So does the bedroom. Things go bad, maybe I can reach one of them in time. Just breathe and be, I say aloud, trying to calm myself. The silver wolf sniffs the air and slowly lowers himself to the floor. Head on his paws, looking as unthreatening as something like him could look. It almost feels intentional. Stop it, I snap at myself quietly. They're not talking to you. They're not pets. They're wild animals. But the longer I watch, the more I can't shake this feeling. Something here isn't normal. Wolves don't act like this. They don't seek people out. They don't look at you like they understand. Then the injured wolf lets out a soft, pained whimper. My attention snaps to the blood soaking into my rug. I speak without thinking. You need food, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. And that trap needs to come off. I move sideways, slow, keeping my eyes on the silver one as I edge toward the kitchen. I grab the rest of the venison stew and pour it into a big bowl. Here, I say, placing it halfway between us. Please eat. The silver wolf perks his ears, clearly catching the scent. He looks at me, then the food, then back at his injured friend. Finally he moves, calm, cautious. He sniffs the bowl once, then begins to eat. Only a few bites in, he stops, turns back, and makes a quiet sound in his throat. The injured one tries to get up but can't. The silver wolf goes to him, nudges gently, then looks at me again. There's something in his eyes I swear is pleading. Right, okay, I say, blinking against the sting in my eyes. I grab another bowl, fill it, and bring it closer to the injured one. He eats in slow, weak mouthfuls while the big one stands between us, watching. The whole scene is surreal, like some twisted fairy tale. Blood on my rug, a trap glinting in the firelight, and two wild creatures acting more civilized than most people I've known. That trap, it's brutal, cruel, and the more I look at it, the more it reminds me just how awful people can be. I've seen that side myself. I wouldn't be hiding up in these mountains if life in the city hadn't chewed me up. I can still see that night on the train, crowded car, those men whispering threats I wasn't supposed to hear. I only got away by yanking the emergency brake. But in a way, part of me's still stuck on that train, frozen in that fear. The injured wolf's whimper pulls me back to the present. I have to get that trap off. It's not a choice anymore. I step forward. Just breathe and be, I whisper again, locking eyes with the wounded animal. Getting close to a hurt predator. Yeah, that's asking for trouble. Pain makes them unpredictable. And honestly, I'm scared. Fear's natural. It's what stops people from doing the right thing. Nobody helped me that night. Nobody stepped in. I won't be that person, I whisper, grabbing the first aid kit. The silver wolf shifts, his body tensing slightly as I approach. I move slow, careful not to make any sudden movements. Then I kneel, just a few feet from the injured one, and hold up my tools so he can see them. I need to help your friend, I say, not caring if it sounds nuts to talk to a wolf. If we don't take off that trap, she won't make it. And to my utter disbelief, the silver wolf steps aside. Not far, just enough, giving me access. I ease closer, talking in that same low, calm voice. The trap's nasty, designed not to kill quick, but to hold something alive until the trapper comes back. Just another brutal reminder of how cruel people can be when no one's watching. The little wolf lets out a soft whimper as I touch the metal trap, but she doesn't growl or lash out. I'll be as gentle as I can, I tell her, lining up the wire cutters. It's gonna hurt, but then it'll be better. I start with the spring first, releasing the tension. The second it pops, she yelps, a sharp, pained sound that makes me freeze. I almost stop right there. But then the big one, Silver I've started calling him, makes this low, rumbling sound. Not a growl, more like comfort. It settles us both down. Piece by piece, I dismantle the rest of the trap. By the time I pull the last bit of it off, all that's left is the wound. Deep, raw, angry. But at least now it's free of that cruel metal. I clean it gently, smear on some antibiotic, and wrap it tight in fresh bandages. The whole time, Silver doesn't look away. His eyes follow every move my hands make. That's all I can do, I say finally, sitting back on my heels. She needs real medical care. But this'll hold her for now. I add a few logs to the fire, building a bigger wall of heat between me and the wolves. The wind's still howling outside like it's trying to break in. I glance at the storm-beaten windows. Just till the storm passes, I mutter, easing into the armchair. Then you'll have to go back where you came from. I mean to stay awake, to keep an eye on them. But sleep wins. The last thing I see is Silver curling himself around the injured one like a shield. Their eyes glow faintly in the firelight, like twin stars watching over me. That night my dreams take me back. Grabbing hands, jeering voices, that crowded train car. I'm frozen again just like I was that winter. And the other passengers, just watching, doing nothing. I bolt awake just before dawn, gasping, the cabin cold and the fire dying out. For a second I think maybe I dreamed it all, the wolves, the storm, the trap. But then I see them, still here, keeping their distance. Silver's wide awake, those eyes just as sharp, just as aware. And that's when I notice the little one, Frost. She's standing, not limping, not in pain, just standing there steady on all fours. Blink. The bandages I wrapped are on the floor. Her leg. It looks completely healed. That's not possible, I whisper. But the proof is right in front of me. No wound. No scar. Frost walks over slowly, stops a few feet away. Then Silver rises, steps beside her, and bows his head. Just a little. But I feel the weight of it run straight through me like a current. These aren't regular wolves. That much is crystal clear. Chapter 3. The storm ends up trapping us together for 3 full days. By the second morning, I stop flinching every time one of them moves. I even start talking to them without thinking. While I sort through camera gear, I find myself explaining how I used to be a photographer, used to be someone confident. I used to feel brave, I tell Silver, who's lying by the fire, ears twitching as if he's listening. Then one day I'm on this train and these men, they came at me. I stop, caught off guard by how thick my throat feels. That was the day I realized the world wasn't safe, I say, laughing a little to cover the sting. Sorry, I don't know why I'm telling you this. Not like you get it. But the way Silver watches me, steady, calm, maybe even kind, makes me wonder. Just breathe and be, I whisper, and the words feel more solid now than they ever have. Frost. Yeah, that's what I call her now because her fur has this almost icy blue sheen. Mostly sleeps. She curls up in the sun by the window, looking peaceful, like none of this ever happened. Her leg. No trace of damage. I've stopped trying to figure it out. Some things don't come with answers. By day 3, we've got a routine. I cook and always set some food aside for them. Silver prefers venison. Not big on chicken. At night, I read old books from Grandpa's shelf, and he listens. I swear he listens. Sometimes I catch him staring at me like he's understanding every word. You know, I say on the 3rd night. I should be terrified. But having you two here. It's the least alone I've felt in a long time. Silver stands up, stretches, and then walks over, settling beside my chair. I reach out, hesitating, my hand hovering over his head. He waits. When I finally touch him. His fur is softer than I ever imagined. Definitely lost my mind, I whisper. But I don't stop petting him. That night I sleep on the couch. Silver lies on the floor beside me, close enough that I can hear him breathe. Frost curls at my feet like we've done this for years. The morning of the 4th day comes in like a dream. Sky clear, snow glittering like diamonds. Everything outside looks untouched, brand new. I open the door to take it all in. The air so cold it stings my lungs. The storm's gone. But everything's changed. Silver and Frost crowd in behind me at the doorway. Alert again. Bodies tense like they just picked up a new scent on the wind. It's beautiful, huh? I murmur, stepping onto the porch. The sun's out for the first time in days, casting diamonds across the snow. They brush past me, bounding down the steps into the powder. The snow comes up to their chests, but they don't seem to mind. Frost leaps ahead, scattering white in all directions before pausing and looking back, waiting. Always waiting for him. But Silver, he stays where he is, still as a statue. His eyes stay locked on mine. That gaze. It hits me in the chest, sharp and unexpected. Grief out of nowhere. It's time to go, I whisper, trying to smile. Back to your pack. He doesn't move. Those eyes, those impossibly aware eyes, hold me there. Like he knows exactly what I'm saying. Like he's not ready either. Frost glances toward the woods, then lets out a soft little yip. Sounds like a nudge, an encouragement, maybe even a goodbye. It's okay, I say, voice catching. I wave a hand gently. Go on. You're free now. Frost trots off toward the trees, stopping a ways out to wait again. After a beat, Silver finally follows. He cuts through the snow like a shadow, slow and deliberate. Right at the edge of the woods, he turns. One last look, those amber eyes locking with mine from across the clearing. And then he disappears into the trees. Just like that. Silver and Frost gone. Their shapes swallowed up by the forest and the cold. I stand there until my fingers go numb, just staring at the spot they vanished. Chapter 4. It's been 3 days since they left. And the quiet now, suffocating, feels like pressure against my ears, like I'm underwater. I still listen for their claws on the floor, still glance up ready to share something with companions who aren't here anymore. Pathetic, I mutter, fiddling with the camera. There's a cardinal perched against the white snow. Bright red, picture perfect. I frame the shot, adjust the settings. Take it. Check the display. Delete it. Wrong light. Wrong mood. Just wrong. Everything feels off through the lens now. The landscape that once felt alive like a bomb. Now it just looks flat. I put the camera down and lean against the window. The snow out there is flawless. Clean and glistening. I catch myself scanning the tree line again. Hunting for that flash of silver. They're not coming back, I say aloud, like maybe saying it will make it true. Just breathe and be. Let it go. But my chest feels tight. I can't lie to myself. As the sky fades from pink to blue to black, I make tea and step onto the porch. The stars are out, crisp and sharp. Cold air burns through me, but I don't mind. At least it reminds me I'm still here. That's when I see it. A shadow by the forest's edge. Big, Bill. My heart kicks hard. Silver. He's back. Barely breathe. Don't move. Just watch. He doesn't step forward. Doesn't run. Just stands there, strong and silent. Those eyes fixed on mine. Full of that same quiet understanding that's haunted my sleep since he left. Silver, I whisper, like saying his name might break whatever spell this is. His ears twitch. He hears me. Slowly, I set down the mug, careful not to startle him. I don't blink. Don't even breathe too loud. He doesn't budge. Just stands there, glowing faintly in the twilight. You came back, I say softly. Chapter 5. The phone rings, loud and jarring, cutting through the stillness as I rinse out the breakfast dishes. I dry my hands, eyeing the old rotary on the kitchen wall. Can't avoid them forever, I think. So I pick it up. Hello, Anna. Finally. My mother's voice, crackling across the line like dry leaves. Your father and I were starting to worry. No need, I say. I'm fine. I glance out the window. Snow's fallen again, clean and deep. No sign of Silver this morning. But he'd been there last night. Stayed on the porch long after I'd gone to bed. His body just visible in the moonlight. Being fine and being well aren't the same thing, sweetheart. Her voice softens. It's been almost 7 months. The silence stretches out between us. We both know what she means. 7 months since that night. It flashes in my head again. Those men closing in between train cars, boxing me in. One blocking the front, the others trapping my back. The stench of them. Their words. Their hands. "Anna, are you still there?" she asks. But I'm not. Not really. I'm staring through the little train window, locking eyes with strangers who all looked away. They all looked away so fast it was almost like a reflex. One woman even stood up and walked to another car, pretending she had somewhere better to be. "Anna!" My mom's voice crackled through the phone. I blink, yanking myself out of the memory. "Yeah, I'm here." She doesn't skip a beat. "Your father wants to talk to you." There's a rustling as she passes the phone. "Hey, kiddo," my dad says. His voice is trying too hard to sound casual. "How's the photography coming?" I let out a tired sigh. "It's fine." "Good. That's good." He hesitates a beat too long. "The gallery called again. They're still saving that spot for you in the spring show." I wrap the phone cord tight around my finger, feeling the edges of my old life creeping back in, trying to wrap around me again. "I'm not coming back, Dad." There's a pause. Not coming back at all. Or just not yet. I lean against the kitchen wall, eyes on the tree lean outside. "I don't know," I say. "Honey, you can't hide out in those mountains forever." He tries gently. "I'm not hiding." I snap, maybe a little too fast. "Then what would you call it?" "Alone in your granddad's hunting cabin, no contact, no plans." That's not living, Anna. The image crashes in again, uninvited. Those 3 men, the emergency brake. My feet hitting frozen platform concrete as alarms rang through the train. I remember the phone booth and the cold, my fingers feeding quarters into the slot while my voice shook trying to say, "Come get me." They never asked for details. Maybe they didn't want to know. "I've always respected your independence," my dad continues, sounding more tired now. "But this isn't healthy. You're cutting yourself off from everything. From everyone." My laugh is sharp, bitter. "You mean from a world where I screamed while strangers stared at their shoes? Where grown adults pretended they didn't hear anything? That's the world you want me to come back to?" Silence floods the line. "Not everyone's like that," my dad says eventually, softer this time. "No," my voice tightens. "But enough are. And when I needed help, no one even tried." My fingers tremble as I wipe away tears I didn't notice falling. "So what this is it?" he asks. "You're just going to stay out there forever? No people, no friends, nothing but snow and trees." I glance out the window just as something moves at the tree lean. My heart skips. It's Silver. His shape cutting clean through the snow as he strides toward the cabin like he belongs here. "Maybe not totally alone," I murmur, the ghost of a smile tugging at my lips. "What does that mean?" My dad sounds confused. "Is there someone with you?" Silver stops halfway across the clearing. His amber eyes locked on mine, waiting. "Let's just say, I made a friend," I say, gently unwinding the phone cord from my finger. "I've got to go, Dad. I'll call again soon. Promise." I hang up before he can answer. Chapter 6. After that, a rhythm takes shape. Every couple of days, around mid-afternoon, Silver shows up at the forest's edge. Sometimes he stays an hour. Sometimes he waits until the stars come out. But he always comes. By the second week, I've started planning my days around him. I set aside my best cuts of meat. Keep my camera within reach. Watch the tree lean like it owes me something. "This is ridiculous," I mutter, eyeing the clock as it ticks past 3 o'clock. He's not a dinner guest. But right on cue, 3:17. He steps out of the shadows, and my heart jumps like it's seeing an old friend. This time I bring out the camera. Silver doesn't flinch anymore when I move. He just sits there in the snow 20 feet from the porch, eyes steady while I adjust my lens. Hold still, I tell him with a grin. The light's perfect. Through the viewfinder he's art. That coat of his catches the sun like molten silver. Every muscle under his fur still and sure. I lose track of time, caught in the rhythm of the shutter clicks. You're beautiful, I whisper, scrolling through the images. He tilts his head like he heard me, like he's thinking about it. When I glance up, he's still watching, always watching, that gaze. It's too sharp, too human. Do you understand me? I ask without thinking. Silver blinks, slow and deliberate. That blink sends a chill down my spine. My days fall into place now. Mornings are for my photos. Afternoons I hope for Silver. Evenings I edit or read aloud by the fire. I stop keeping the rifle by the bed. The knot in my chest, the one that's lived there since the train, starts to loosen. On his 10th visit, Silver brings something. A pine cone, perfect and symmetrical, dropped gently at the bottom step. You brought me a gift, ask kneeling down. Silver stands nearby, watching every move. Thank you, I whisper, slipping the pine cone into my coat pocket like it's a rare gem. That night, I set it gently on my bedside table, touching it now and then just to convince myself it's real and not some lonely dream. By morning, a heavy snow has rolled in, blanketing the woods in silence and erasing every track in sight. I don't expect to see him again today. Not in this weather. But sure enough, right on time, Silver pushes through the deep drifts, frost clinging to his coat like he's been sculpted from ice. You came, I say, surprised and smiling. In this storm, wrapped in my grandfather's old coat, I stand there and watch him battle through the wind. There's a kind of determination in him that tightens something in my chest. You must be freezing, I tell him as he climbs the steps. Come out of the wind. To my amazement, he listens. He actually comes up and settles beside me on the porch, right next to my chair like it's the most natural thing in the world. Now this close, I can see the frost in his fur. Hear the even pull of his breathing. I slowly stretch out my hand. He watches me without flinching. And when my fingers finally brush his fur, neither of us moves. Silver leans gently into the contact. I keep petting him, slow and soft, and his eyes drift half closed like he's at peace. We sit there like that for almost an hour, me in my grandmother's old rocking chair, him curled up beside me, both of us watching the snow fall like time has stopped. I didn't think I'd ever trust anything again, I say softly. Not after everything. One of his ears twitches toward me. I thought staying alone was safer. No expectations, no disappointments. My voice catches a little. But then you showed up. The days start to shorten. Nights stretch on. December fades into January. And the cold grows sharper. I gather extra wood, stock up on food, double-check every lock and latch. But no matter how bitter the winter gets, Silver keeps coming. His visits ground me. I talk to him constantly. About my day, my photos, the pieces of my old life I thought I'd packed away for good. He listens like no one ever has. Like he actually gets it. Maybe I am crazy, I admit one night, stroking his fur as we sit by the fire, talking to a wolf like he's my therapist. But the truth is, the panic attacks have stopped. The fear has backed off. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I sleep through the night. Chapter 7. The moose comes out of nowhere. Just a shadow at first, taking shape through the morning mist like some ancient spirit. Its huge silhouette glows against the sunrise. I freeze mid-step, half raising my camera. My breath fogs the lens. This is it, the shot I've been dreaming of. Wild, majestic, perfect. I lift the camera slowly, fingers stiff with cold, and snap the shutter. The click is soft, almost swallowed by the silence. The moose twitches an ear but keeps grazing. Take another photo. Then one more. The light is changing quickly now, bathing the forest in gold. I start circling to get a better angle, careful not to make a sound. If I can just frame it against the snow-covered spruces. Suddenly the moose jerks its head up, nostrils flaring. A beat later it bolts, disappearing into the trees with startling speed. "Damn!" I whisper, lowering the camera. Something must have spooked it. Maybe my scent drifted on the breeze. Nap. The sound behind me stops my heart. Twig breaking. Turn. 20 yards out, a massive brown bear rises onto its hind legs, sun hitting the curve of its back. It drops down again, sniffing, searching. I forget how to breathe. Huge. 7 feet easy. All muscle and thick fur and wild instinct. Don't run. Don't scream. Make yourself big. Back away slowly. I hear the safety course playing like a bad tape in my mind. "Hey there." I manage, my voice thin. "Just passing through." I raise my arms. "Easy, girl." The bear locks eyes with me and takes a step closer. Then I hear it. Soft, barely there whimper. From behind a log, a cub peeks out. God. I'm standing between a mother and her baby. "I'm backing off," I whisper, inching away. Not a threat. I swear. The bear snorts, a deep, throaty warning that rattles through my bones. I keep retreating, muttering nonsense, trying not to cry. But every step I take, she mirrors it, closer, closer. 10 yards now. Her head drops. She's going to charge. "Please." I breathe. My heel snags a root. Stumble. The bear lunges. Run. Branches whip my face. My boots slide on ice. I don't look back. I don't need to. I can hear her. The paws pounding, the breath huffing behind me like a steam engine. Fallen log looms in my path. I jump too late. My boot catches. I hit the ground hard. Pain explodes in my ankle. Twisted. No good. I crawl, elbows digging into the snow. I can feel her closing in. I roll over, gasping. She's right there, towering. A wall of fur and teeth and fury. Her breath clouds the air. Her growl shakes my ribs. "Help!" I scream, raw and desperate. The same word I'd screamed that night on the train. And just like then, no one answers. The bear rises again, all power and wrath and blood. This is the end. The bear drops to all fours, its massive paw lifting, ready to strike. No one is coming. Chapter 8. Anna stares into the bear's rage-filled eyes and feels time crack open. So this is how it ends, she thinks. Not in a hospital bed at 80. Not back in the city she once called home. But here, in the wilderness she'd chosen as a hiding place. There's irony in it. Fleeing the threat of men only to meet her end at the hands of something more ancient, more honest. Nature doesn't pretend. The bear's breath clouds in the freezing air, claws gleaming like curved knives. Anna can't scream. Her voice has long since frozen in her throat. Her limbs won't respond, and her twisted ankle is useless, a dead weight in the snow. She watches the bear's shoulder muscles coil. It's going to strike. She closes her eyes. And then, a snarl, sharp and sudden, splits the clearing like thunder. Anna's eyes fly open just in time to see a silver streak crash through the air, landing between her and the bear. Silver. He hits the ground hard, his stance low, every inch of him radiating fury. His hackles bristle. His teeth gleam in the thin light. The quiet companion she'd grown to trust is gone, replaced by something fierce and wild. Silver, no! Anna cries, a fresh panic overtaking the old one. Run, please! But he doesn't run. He stays. He fights. He lunges forward, snapping at the bear's face, forcing it to pull back. The bear roars and swipes. Silver dodges, nimble and fast, circles, bites into the bear's leg, then darts away again. For a moment, Anna dares to hope. He's faster, sharper. Maybe. Then the bear spins, quicker than she thought possible. The blow connects. Silver is flung through the air like a rag doll, slamming against a tree with a sickening crunch. He crumples into the snow, unmoving. Silver! Anna's scream rips through her chest. The bear turns back toward her, but she doesn't see it anymore. All she sees is him, bleeding, ill. She drags herself across the clearing, ignoring the searing pain in her ankle, the frozen burn of the snow. The bear huffs behind her, close, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters except Silver. She reaches him just as he stirs, just barely. His amber eyes meet hers, glazed with pain but still lit with that spark of awareness. Of him. The bear looms again, a wall of teeth and muscle. Anna throws herself over Silver's broken body, arms flung wide. If he dies, I die too. I'm not leaving, she whispers, pressing her face to his fur. I've got you. I'm here. The forest erupts. A howl rises. Then another and another. The sound echoes from the trees like a forgotten hymn. Anna looks up, heart hammering. Frost emerges first, her pale coat luminous against the snow. Behind her, a massive black wolf with a scar slashing across its face. Then 2 grays. Then 4. 6 wolves in total, fanning out around them. Not just for Silver. They've come for her too. The bear hesitates, uncertain for the first time. It roars again, rising onto its hind legs. The black wolf steps forward, growling low, a sound that vibrates through the very earth. The pack shifts as one, tightening, flanking, herding. Frost strikes first, slashing the bear's flank before darting back. Then 2 grays rush in from opposite sides. The bear spins, swipes, misses. The black wolf stands its ground, a sentinel between the bear and Anna. The cub cries again, panicked, high-pitched. The bear hesitates, torn. Then, with one final roar, it turns, bolts toward the sound. The wolves part, letting it pass. Mother and cub vanish into the brush. Silence falls like snow. Anna stays hunched over Silver, gasping, trembling. He whimpers, shallow and weak. The wolves close in, surrounding them like sentries. The black wolf steps forward, sniffs the wound, then lifts its gaze to Anna. Those eyes, they aren't wild. They're aware. Please, she begs, her voice ragged. Help him. Frost nudges her shoulder, gentle, reassuring. The wolves settle around them, bodies forming a shield against the wind and cold. Silver breathes, but every breath is thinner, slower. Blood seeps beneath him. Anna cradles his head in her lap, whispering broken words. Just breathe and be, she tells him. Just breathe and live, okay? For me. Her ankle throbs, useless. The cabin might as well be on the moon. She can't move him, can't move herself. And then the wolves begin to howl again. But this time it's different. It isn't rage or warning. Low, haunting, melodic. The sound rises and falls like waves. Ancient, purposeful. It hums through the trees, vibrates through the ground, through her bones. Silver shifts under her hand. His eyes find hers again. Like, it starts at his chest, faint and flickering. Then it spreads, racing along his bloodied fur, igniting every wound. Anna scrambles back, blinking. Silver! His fur glows, literally glows like moonlight made solid. The wolves keep howling, their bodies still. The light intensifies, wrapping around him, lifting the snow around his form. Anna shields her eyes, overwhelmed. This isn't real. Can't be. Must be shock. Or madness. But Silver changes. Trauma, blood loss, cold, but it feels real. The light pulses now. Heartbeat. A rhythm that matches her own. The wolves' howls rise, shaking the air. Then everything stops. The light collapses inward, then explodes. A soundless wave flattens Anna to the snow. The last thing she sees before blackness takes her is Silver's body changing, lengthening, shifting, becoming something impossible. Chapter 9. Antiseptic. That's the first thing Anna notices as consciousness returns. The sharp clinical smell that could only belong to a hospital. Her eyelids feel impossibly heavy as she struggles to open them. The fluorescent lights above sending spikes of pain through her skull. She's waking up. Familiar voice says. Anna blinks, forcing her vision to focus. Her parents hover over her, their faces drawn with worry. Her father's hand engulfs hers, warm and solid. Anna. Her mother asks, voice trembling. Can you hear me, sweetheart? What? Anna's throat feels like sandpaper. Where am I? The hospital, her father answers. You've been here for 2 days. Concussion, hypothermia, and a badly sprained ankle. Memory returns in disjointed fragments. The bare Silver leaping to her defense. Blood in the snow. The circle of wolves. The rangers said it looked like a bear attack, her mother says cautiously. Is that what happened? Honey. Anna tries to sit up, wincing as pain radiates from multiple points across her body. I was photographing a moose, and then there was a bear with a cub. Charged me. That much is true. But how to explain what happened next? The wolves that came to her rescue. The light that had enveloped Silver. Transforming him into what? The memory slips away like water. You're lucky to be alive, her father says, voice rough with emotion. If that hiker hadn't found you when he did. Anna's heart rate spikes, the monitor beside her bed, betraying her sudden anxiety. The wolves, she blurts out. Did anyone see wolves? Her mother pats her hand. The doctor said confusion is normal with concussions. You should rest. I'm not confused. Anna insists. There were wolves. One of them was hurt trying to protect me. Her parents share another look. The kind that passes between people who think you've lost your mind, but are too polite to say. An uncomfortable silence falls over the room, broken only by the steady beeping of the heart monitor. Anna's thoughts keep returning to the wolves, to Silver. Is he alive? The memory of his blood soaking into the snow makes her chest tighten with renewed panic. The doctors say you can be discharged tomorrow. Her father offers. We've booked flights back to Seattle for the following day. What? Anna looks up sharply. I never said I was going back. Her mother squeezes her hand again. Be reasonable. You can't go back to that cabin after what happened. It's not safe. Your things are already packed. Her father adds. Your mother went out there yesterday. The thought of them in her space touching her things, making decisions for her, sends a wave of anger through Anna. You had no right. A knock at the door interrupts her. A man stands in the doorway, tall, powerfully built, with a quiet intensity that immediately commands attention. He wears simple clothes, jeans, flannel, shirt, worn boots, but carries himself with the confidence of someone completely at ease in his own skin. And his eyes, amber, striking. They're familiar in a way Anna can't place. The man seems frozen in place, staring at her with an expression of wonder, of hunger, of something so raw it steals her breath. "Oh," her mother says. "Anna, this is Peter. He's the hiker who found you in the woods. He's been here every day checking on you." Peter, the name doesn't match the sense of recognition flooding through Anna. She's never met this man before. And yet something about him resonates deep within her, like a note struck on a tuning fork. "Thank you," she manages to say, "for finding me." Peter nods once, a slight inclination of his head that triggers a flash of déjà vu so strong it makes her dizzy. "Could I have a moment?" Anna asks suddenly, with my rescuer alone. Her mother looks startled. "Honey, you need to rest and we haven't finished discussing. You could get me some water," Anna suggests, "and maybe something to eat. Hospital food is terrible." "I'll go," her father offers. "Actually, I'd like you both to go," Anna says firmly. "Please, just for a few minutes." Her father recognizes the tone, the same one she used as a teenager when she'd made up her mind about something. "Come on, honey. Let's give them a minute." When the door closes, Anna and Peter stare at each other across the room. He makes no move to approach, and she finds herself grateful for the space, for the chance to examine him without the pressure of her family's presence. She starts to say, "Sir," then catches herself and tries again. "Peter, this might sound strange, but when you found me, did you happen to see any wolves?" I watch his face closely, trying to read what flickers there, but I can't quite place it. He repeats the word, "wolves," his voice low and steady. "Yeah, wolves. A whole pack." I lean in, my voice tightening with urgency. "They were trying to help me. One of them got hurt protecting me from that bear. Silver gray fur. I need to know if he's okay." Peter's expression softens as he moves closer to my bedside. Up close, I catch sight of a fresh scar running along his collarbone, just peeking out from under his shirt. "There was an injured wolf," he says carefully. "But he recovered, got back on his feet. He's fine." Relief washes over me so hard I have to shut my eyes tight. "You saw him? You're sure?" Ask, voice barely steady. "I'm sure," Peter says with a calm certainty that settles my racing heart. The machine beside me picks up my anxiety, beeping faster. Peter places a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Just breathe. Be here now," he whispers softly. My eyes snap open. "How did you?" I start, looking at him with a new intensity. That phrase hangs in the air between us, oddly familiar, though it makes no sense. Peter pulls his hand away quickly. "It's just something my grandmother used to say," he offers quietly. His gaze holds me with a focus that should feel intrusive, but somehow doesn't. He tilts his head slightly, and the gesture hits me like a memory I can't place. Gasp. "Do I know you?" I whisper. Before he can answer, the door bursts open and my parents step in, carrying a tray with food and water. "So, Anna," my mother says, her voice too bright, almost forced. "Have you thought about what we talked about? Coming home?" I glance at Peter, who stepped back now. His expression carefully unreadable. But in his eyes I catch something. Sadness, maybe resignation, that twists my heart painfully. "Thank you," Peter says abruptly, looking at me. "For what you did." He holds out his hand. I take it without hesitation. His skin is warm, almost feverish, and his grip is firm but gentle. He squeezes once, then lets go. "I should go," he says, already moving toward the door. "Rest well, Anna." "Wait," I call after him, but he's already gone, the door swinging shut behind him. "About coming home," my mother presses. Your father and I think. She trails off. I cut her off, staring at the closed door. A hollow emptiness spreads inside me. Something important just left my room. Something I can't quite remember, but feel like I can't live without. Later, I limp to the edge of the cabin's porch. My ankle still aches, but it's getting better. The full moon spills silver light across the clearing, bright enough to throw sharp shadows. I whisper to the silent forest. Where are you? 2 days. 2 whole days I've been sitting right here on this porch, pretending to take pictures of winter birds while scanning the tree line, hoping to catch any sign of him. My mother fills the silence with chatter about friends I haven't thought of in months. I'm not leaving until I know you're okay, I murmur, my breath puffing out in cold clouds. Inside, my mother finally succumbs to exhaustion, falling asleep after days of watching over me. And then something breaks inside me, a dam of emotions I've been holding back. Tears spill down my cheeks, freezing almost instantly in the biting cold. Silver, I call softly, my voice cracking. Please, I need to know you're okay. Minutes pass. I sink down onto the porch steps, hugging my knees, ignoring the ache in my ankle. The cold creeps through my clothes, but I don't move. You were there when no one else was, I say to the empty clearing. You showed me I could trust again. Please, just let me see you one more time. Then, a shadow slips away from the tree line. My breath catches as that familiar silver shape emerges from the darkness. Silver moves gracefully through the deep snow. His amber eyes locked on my face, just like they always have been. You came back, I whisper, rising despite the protest from my ankle. Silver lets out a soft sound from deep in his throat, almost like a sigh. He watches me with a look that suddenly feels too knowing, too aware. I study him, those eyes, the intelligence behind them, something no ordinary animal could have. You're not just a wolf, are you, Silver? I whisper. His ears perk up, gaze steady and unwavering. You understand me, don't you? I say, voice gaining strength. You always have. Silver tilts his head in that familiar way. And in that moment, I know without a doubt my suspicions are right. Come inside, I say suddenly, glancing back at the cabin where my mother sleeps. Please. I stand and start toward the door. Silver hesitated briefly, then silently followed me, his paws barely making a sound on the wooden steps. I led him inside the cabin and gently shut the door behind us. My mother lay asleep on the couch, unaware of our arrival. I motioned toward my bedroom, and Silver seemed to understand perfectly, padding quietly across the floor after me. Once inside, I closed the door and faced him. In the soft lamplight, Silver looked both familiar and somehow strange, the friend I had come to trust and yet suddenly a mystery. You've been watching over me all this time, I said softly, returning day after day when you could have been anywhere else. Silver settled back on his haunches, his eyes fixed on my face. Why? I whispered. I need to know why. For a moment nothing stirred. Then Silver raised his gaze toward the window where moonlight poured in, casting shimmering patterns on the floorboards. The air around him seemed to ripple, like heat rising from sun-baked pavement. I stared, captivated, my heart pounding with a mix of wonder and hope rather than fear. And then, just like that, Silver vanished. In his place knelt a tall, strong man, bare except for the moonlight tracing the contours of his skin. My mouth fell open as recognition hit me like a blow. Peter, I gasped, stepping back until I bumped into the bed. The man who'd rescued me at the hospital looked up, those amber eyes, the same eyes I had come to know through storms and quiet nights, locking onto mine. Silver's eyes. But how? I whispered, pressing a hand to my mouth. You were a wolf and now you're… I gestured helplessly at him. You're the man who found me in the woods. Peter nodded slowly, wary. That's me, he said, voice rough as if unused to speaking. But why didn't you tell me before? I asked, my thoughts racing to make sense of the impossible. Why didn't you come in human form that first night? I almost didn't let you inside. He shrugged, still kneeling on the floor. When you saved me from the bear, it was the first time in 3 years I'd been human. I stared at him, struggling to reconcile the wolf I'd trusted with the man from the hospital, realizing they were one and the same. The familiar tilt of his head, the scar on his shoulder. All silver. This is crazy, I murmured. Peter repeated the head tilt, the same gesture that always caught my attention, and I realized I was alone in my room with a naked man. My gaze dropped involuntarily to his broad shoulders, toned chest, and the faint trail of silver hair leading down. You're naked, I blurted, cheeks flaming, snapping my eyes back up. He glanced down like he'd only just noticed. Clothes don't exactly come along for the shift, he said with a casual shrug. I scrambled for the bed, grabbed a blanket, and held it out toward him at arm's length, determined not to look. After a moment, I felt the blanket pulled away. Peeking, I saw Peter had wrapped it around his waist, though his chest remained uncovered. The scar from the bear attack was clear on his left shoulder. It'll heal, he said with a hint of humor despite the tension. Like Kara's injury, I forced myself to meet his eyes, trying to blend the image of this strong man with the wolf who'd slept by my fireplace. Kara, yes. He smiled faintly. My sister. You saved her too. She could shift until 3 years ago. What happened then? Pressed. His expression darkened. Humans found out about us. They came with guns and traps. My father and 2 others were killed. I covered my mouth in shock. I was the new alpha. It was my duty to protect what was left. He looked down at his hands, human now but once paws. I was angry, bitter, decided humans were never to be trusted. I nodded, feeling that kind of hurt deeply. There's a man, Peter said suddenly. Someone I'd heard of. A man who grants wishes. Like a genie. I cut in, imagining the blue cartoon from my childhood. Something like that, he admitted. I went to him, desperate to keep my pack safe. He said he'd grant my wish, for a price. Actually warned me against it. Peter grimaced, shame clear on his face. But I didn't listen. And what did you wish for? I asked, meeting his gaze. To make my pack invisible to humans. Safe from their violence for as long as I chose. I understood that wish. Wanting to hide from a world that could hurt you. And the cost? I asked quietly. His arms closed around me firmly, steady and sure, pulling me tight against the comforting heat of his chest. I wrapped my arms around his neck, my fingers tangling in the silver strands of his hair, holding on as the last walls guarding my heart crumbled away. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathless and flushed, I caught the look of awe in Peter's eyes. I've waited months just to hold you like this, he murmured close to my lips. And it still feels unreal. It's real, I whispered back, my hands tracing the strong curves of his shoulders. For the first time since that terrible night on the train, I felt fully myself, safe, grounded, and utterly at home with him. The fear that had clung to me for so long melted into something softer, brighter, a hope stretching wide ahead, unexpected and beautiful. We were both broken, both retreating from the world with wounded hearts. Yet in one another we found healing. Outside, a wolf's howl sliced through the cold winter night. Pure, clear, joyful. I pressed a smile against Peter's shoulder. knowing now what that cry truly meant. It wasn't a sound of loneliness. It was the song of belonging. Thanks so much for joining me for The Frozen Wolves by Lily Robert. Yours truly. If this story touched you, a like or comment would mean the world. Especially since the channel was recently demonetized and I'm doing my best to get back on track. By the way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you enjoy having more visuals in the videos, or do they distract you? Me know. Catch you soon for the next story.